Hi, folks. Uncle Griff's Golden Age Comics here. And today I wanted to talk about things you should know if you want to start collecting Golden Age comics. Hopefully, I'll have some stuff in there for older collectors too. But we're going to start with the basics. All right. So, before you've bought a single comic book from the Golden Age, there's a couple things that you should have. First one on the list, the Gerber Photo Journal of Comics. Ernie Gerber put together the best resource for Golden Age books that you could possibly ask for. And I want to do a whole video on these one day and talk about how they came into being. But the reason these are great is inside, I'm just going to open to a random page. There are images of nearly every Golden Age comic. There are literally thousands and thousands and thousands to look through. And the reason I always tell people to start here is while you might think that you know what you want to collect, I'm betting Ernie Gerber's books here are going to change your mind and help you really focus on what you need. There are 2 volumes. There's the second volume. And these are still gettable. They're about $75 a piece. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them on eBay. You can get them just about anywhere. Before you buy Golden Age book number 1, I always suggest starting with Gerber's. Now, besides all the pictures, one of the most important things in the Gerber indexes is the scarcity index. He talks about, and I'm going to try to put a picture right there of the scarcity index for you, the rarity of the books. Some of these books are 85 years old. How many of them have survived? How many of them got through the paper and pulp drives of World War II? How many of them survived the Wortham hearings in Congress and the book burnings in the 50s? And if they got through all of that, how many of them survived mom throwing kids' comics away? 80 years plus later, not many. So when he's talking about less than 200 known to exist, it's a pretty good indication that's going to be a book that's difficult to find. One of the other really important reasons to have the Photojournal Guide to Comics is it's going to really help you focus your collection. I always tell people, I started off when I started collecting Golden Age comics, and I thought the bee's knees for me were going to be these books. Golden Age Marvel or pre-Marvel books. And I thought this is what I wanted to collect. And I still think they're great and they're just fabulous art. But this led me to my favorite artist from the Golden Age, Alex Schomburg. And I decided I like this style of art even better. So when I'm collecting artists, I'm always on the lookout for Alex's work. And I have just a couple pieces of Alex's work here. Very stylized. One of the most famous, if not the most famous, Golden Age artist. But we'll get into artists more in a second. The second thing that I always recommend for folks that are going to start collecting Golden Age books is this book, The Smithsonian Comic Books Guide to Comics. I can't even say it right. The Smithsonian's Book of Comic Book Comics. By the way, this exact book was in the Smithsonian, was given away by a charity auction the Smithsonian did. So I always like to tell people I own the Smithsonian's copy of this book. What's really handy about this is while you might think you know the Golden Age heroes of yore, and you may know Batman, you may know Superman, this is going to delve into a lot of the sub-characters that you may not know. It's also going to have their origin stories, talk about some of the artists in the Golden Age. It is a great resource and a really good read. Cheap pickup, you can get them for about $30 all over the place, Amazon, eBay, etc. Highly recommended picking it up. So, next on our list, let me set that down someplace a little safer. I would tell you, pay attention to bags and boards. Silver Age books and modern books are not the same size as Golden Age books. You're going to want to go through and actually get a set of bags and boards for your Golden Age books. I like BCWs, or I think that's what it is. Yeah, BCWs. I always try to get a match set because I know that paper or the boarding are going to fit in those bags very well. And remember, these books are, again, 75, 80 years old, if not older. When you're going to put them in the bag and board, take your time, don't rush. And one thing that drives me insane is when people use Scotch tape. I'm going to give you a real cheap, easy answer to that. These are Jot Dots. You can get them at a dollar store. There's 300 in here for $1. I like them for two reasons. Cheap, does the job, and more importantly, barely sticks. No tape pulls. You can put those things on over and over and it's not going to damage it. I end up replacing them every 5 or 10 times I open a book, but who cares? It's more important to me as the caretaker of those books to not damage the books. Please don't use Scotch tapes. Those books survived 80 years before they got to you. Don't be the reason they get damaged. Okay. So we've talked about the photojournal guide, and I hope you start there. It's going to help you focus your collection. There's a lot of different styles of Golden Age, dramatically more so than Modern Age, in my mind. You can choose to collect artists like Schomburg or Matt Baker, L.B. Cole, Bureau. There are hundreds of artists that are popular from the Golden Age. Maybe you collect topics like hero comics, Batman, Superman, or war comics, good girl art, funny animals, Jungle Books, just whatever topic you like. Or maybe it's a cover type, robots or skulls or war covers or bondage or whatever it is that floats your boat. Using Gerber's again is going to help you focus that collection down. All right, so the next thing you should know about collecting Golden Age comics is it is not like normal, everyday, modern comics. You're not going down to your local comic shop and being able to pick them up. You want a book, you're going on the ultimate scavenger hunt 9 times out of 10 to find it. Remember, we're talking about books that Gerber says maybe 500 exist, maybe 200 exist, maybe 10 exist. You want to find one? You're not finding it today. You're going on a scavenger hunt to find it. Take this book I'm going to try to put down right here, Reno Brown number 50. This is a book I've been looking for months. It's not particularly valuable. Doesn't matter. I just want it so that I can tell the story of Reno Brown. And you know what? Haven't seen one. Not on an auction house, not on eBay, not in any of the sites that I go to trying to purchase comics. Can't find it at any price. Could you imagine if you couldn't buy a Dork 1 at any price? If there were only 200 in existence, too bad you can't have it. That's Golden Age life. Get used to it. But it's also, to me, part of the best part of it, hunting for those books. Looking for them and finding them, just the best part. Okay, so how do you find them? Well, there's a lot of ways that you can do it. For me, I would tell you that the nearest LCS for me or local comic shop is over 60 miles in one direction. So it's a 120-mile round trip for me to visit an LCS. They don't have any Golden Age books. And even if your LCS does, the likelihood that they're going to be changing inventory and finding that book that you've been looking for, not going to happen. So what you need to do is a few things. Learn to use online resources. Make a good network of friends that also collect Golden Age books, can help you find the books that you're looking for. I think that's a great thing. I've got a friend, Nate, in Texas, who's always looking for books for me. My friend Mike in California is looking for books for me. And they know I always hook them up when they do. I also tell them, don't buy the book. Just get me the name of the dealer or the person that has it. I'll take care of it. Don't ever ask them to spend money out of their own pocket for you. Online, there are a lot of places that you can buy Golden Age books. Some more popular than others. So I guess we'll start with the elephant in the room, eBay. Yes, I use eBay, and I use it quite a bit. I have a running list of books that I'm looking for, as well as books that my friends are looking for. And every morning when I'm having my cup of coffee, I start on eBay. But you have to learn how to use eBay properly. So when I'm searching for a book on eBay, the very first thing I do is I use the drop down menu and search for Golden Age books that are newly listed with a buy it now price. 99 times out of 100, these books are overpriced. Every now and then, you'll find something that you might be able to sneak a deal on. Here's a great example that nobody cares about but me. This is Johnny Come Marching Home by Ritter and Gaboy. This is the end of World War II. This was printed by I can't remember their publishing company, and I'll have it for you later sometime. In the end of World War II, it was only sold overseas at the PXs and only in Europe. There were 2,500 of them printed, according to the manufacturer. How many of those do you think survived from 1945 to today? I'll tell you, that's the only one I've ever seen. I would have paid $100 for that. I think I paid 20. Impossible to find. Never seen another one, and I've been looking for it for a while. That's how I found it, was with the buy it now price. The other thing I like to do is reverse searching auctions. So on newly listed books, I'm looking for buy it now. When I'm looking for auctions, I'm looking for auctions ending soonest and going down the list that way. Looking for those books that, hey, that's not a book I see very often. Let me refer to Gerber's, find out a little bit more about its scarcity. Okay, what do I think it's worth? I'm going to go on to the web and use the resources I have there to find out what that book has sold for previously. There's plenty of ways to do that. And I can make a bid if I'm interested in the book. So buy it now on the day it's listed. Auctions close to the end. I hate snipers, but that's kind of how you have to do it these days, apparently. Other than eBay, you can, one more thing I want to talk about. Don't be afraid to contact the seller on a buy it now option. More than once, I've contacted them and said, hey, I've been looking at that book, but I've seen you've relisted it 3 times and it's not selling. I'd be a buyer at this price if you're interested. Every now and then, one will take you up on the deal. You can get that book you were looking at a more reasonable price. Other places that you can go online, I think one of the more popular these days is mycomicshop.com. It's a way that sellers can use as a central base to sell their books. They've got quite a large selection, not everything, but who does? Mile High Comics, obviously the guys at Mile High, Chuck, they had one of the biggest Golden Age collections of all time. I think one of the biggest pedigrees ever, one of the greatest pedigrees for certain. They still sell Golden books. A little on the pricey side, but it's a good reference. One of my favorite places to go online is Harley Yee Comics. Harley's a well-known dealer of Golden Age comics, and he's always on the circuit at all the cons. I got to meet him one time when he was in Reno, and great guy. His website, they list the Golden Age comics that they're selling there. And finally, I wanted to mention goldenagecomics.com. It's another place that I go and can get books for it. A little on the pricey side, but tend to be better graded and accurately graded, which is what I appreciate. And the CGC forums. If you go to CGC's website, go to the forum section, there's a seller's forum there. I buy books and sometimes original art on that page. All right, last but not least are the big 3 auction houses. Don't usually buy books there just because the markup is crazy and everybody else and their mother is on there. So you tend to pay a premium if you're buying books there. But if you got the money to spare, or if it's a book you've just desperately looking for, it's a good place to keep your eyes on. Also, it's a great place to get an index or an idea of what the Golden Age books are going for. Because again, when we're talking Golden Age prices, you can take your comic book price guide, burn it. It doesn't count. Those prices are not even remotely going to be right compared to what they actually go for. Keep your eyes open on Heritage. That's probably the best for Golden Age comics. Comic Connect is very good. One of the least known ones or less known ones that I like a lot is Hakes Comics. Their auction house is great for finding Golden Age stuff that's a little bit more obscure, which is kind of the stuff that I like. All right, so we've talked about where to get them. We've talked about what you should have before you start collecting them. I'm going to give you just a little bit of advice. Don't keep up with the Joneses. If somebody's got something, you don't have to have it. If it doesn't meet in your collection or your focus, let it go. Be Elsa from Frozen. Let it go. If you try to keep up with the Joneses, you're going to find out real quick you can go broke really quick. Personally, I have a budget. My budget is about $100 a month for Golden Age books. And does that mean I can buy everything I want? Nope, certainly not. But there's never a problem for me finding books that I want in Golden Age in that range. I've got a couple coming down for next week's show, so we'll see what they are. It's doable. You just have to be aware of it. Set a budget. Stick to your budget. It's important. You can go broke real quick if you don't. I would tell you the next thing is learn from those around you. You know, if somebody wanted to ask me about military comics, I could spout on it for hours. But if I wanted to talk about romance comics, I have no idea. That is not what I collect. And I would just glaze eyes over and send them someplace else. There are resources online. Some of my favorite channels, Alan from the Comic Collector Geek, and Steven, who's just a fount of knowledge on just about anything Golden Age, Collecto6, Matt from Matt Comics, or Matt Collect Comics, I can't even talk straight, forgive me, are great resources, and you should check those guys out. If you like horror stuff, you could check out Chonko's channel. Chonko's amazing at what he does in horror. So use those resources. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to. I always try to ask as many questions as I can about a topic before I start looking into whether I'm going to buy it or not. Saves me money in the long run. All right. I think that's about it. But most important thing is have fun. If you pick a topic that you like, or subject that you like, or an artist that you like, man, there's no greater feel than when you've been looking for that book for 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, and you finally find it. You're not going to get that with a modern book. You might get it with some Silver Age keys, but with Golden Age, it's like that for almost every book that you want. Have fun. That's the best part of it. The search. All right, guys. That's it. Uncle Griff's Comics. Oh, wait. I wanted to talk about one more thing before I left. I forgot almost. Another style of comic that you can pay attention to in the Golden Age that they don't have very much of in the modern age, at least I don't think they do, is pedigree comics. Now, pedigree comics are comics that come from a specific collection. Usually when a large volume of comics is found with a single original owner, they can get a pedigree label. Pedigree comics can really amp up the cost and value of a book. They tend to be the upper echelon of those books. I always say some books you collect for the story on the pages, and some books you collect for the story of the pages. And here are some examples of my pedigree comics. This is Wings Comics. This is from the Okajima pedigree, and I'm not going to go over these too much because I want to do different videos for each one of them. The Okajima pedigree is one of my favorite pedigrees. Oh. Here's Crackerjack Funnies number 20 from 1940, World War II propaganda cover. That is from the Lost Valley pedigree. And I mentioned Mile High. I do have one Mile High that I've previously shown before, and that's this one, this 4-cover comics book here. Now, the cool thing about pedigree comics is, again, they're going to have a backstory behind them. And if you know me, you know I just love stories. The downside of pedigree comics is you can usually amp up the price by at least 30%. And some pedigrees, I mean, if you took this Mile High here, I could pick up this book for probably $25. The second I put the Mile High copy up for sale, that's a $200 comic minimum, just because of the pedigree. They jump the value up that much. It's cool to have them. Unless you've got deep pockets, I wouldn't recommend trying to collect them. Just collect them if they come by your way. Don't actively search for them. All right, guys, that's it. Uncle Griff signing off. Have a great one. See you next week.